ClowdyWorld, and today we're gonna be talking about an artist that we all know and love, but has been getting some really heavy bad looks in the press lately, and that's Lil Baby, one of Atlanta's finest. So what happened with Lil Baby, and why did he go from being one of the most loved and beloved artists of our era to being looked at like he fell off and losing his fall from grace? Lil Baby, as we now know, was one of the biggest artists of the 2019 to 2023 era of music, and it seemed like no matter what he did or touched, nothing could be stopped. Every song he dropped was a banger. Every album and music video he dropped always did numbers. It just felt like everything that Lil Baby touched turned to gold. Now, many people might say that the Gunna beef, especially the issues with YSL, were kind of the catalyst on what happened and why everything got so muddy and rocky. Basically, many were saying that that was kind of the impact that led to the decline of Lil Baby's music. And honestly, I can't say they're wrong. When you look at his music that he was dropping, going from 2018 Harder Than Ever, even things before that like Too Hard and Harder Than Hard, some of his first early mixtapes, to then things like Street Gossip with some of his best and most pure music he dropped for a while, stuff like Pure Coco, No Friends, Section 8 with Young Thug, really got a lot of people into what Lil Baby's style of music and trap was in an era where it seemed like no matter what he did, it was a hit. And this, all leading up to some of the biggest hits such as Sold Out dates with Gunna as well, led to everyone waiting for his heavily anticipated track, My Turn. This album had some of Lil Baby's most classic songs on there, ranging from Grace, Whoa, Live Off My Closet featuring Future, Same Thing, Emotionally Scarred, Commercial featuring Lil Uzi, Forever featuring Lil Wayne, No Sucker featuring Moneybagg Yo, Something to Prove, We Should featuring Young Thug, Gang Signs, and Forget That featuring Rylo Rodriguez. All songs that have over 100 million streams and give you kind of an idea of some of the music that Lil Baby was dropping that made people know that he was that guy. Now, ever since that kind of period of that late 2023 when everything kind of started up and started going south for Young Thug, as many people know, Young Thug was arrested on a YSL RICO charge, where a lot of his artists have since either snitched on him or spoken against him during the trial. He's gained a bunch of weight too. No hate though, no fat phobia over here, it's all love. But he's just not going through it good. And I feel like when I look at Young Thug, he's in a way a metaphor of kind of the idea of what YSL or Young Stoner Life is doing right now, where they're kind of protecting themselves from eating itself up from the inside. There's so many different people in the inside that have snitched and basically sold themselves away and switched up on the people that put them in positions that in a few years after this whole thing and trial is done, I don't even know if YSL and what they represent will even be around anymore. Now, taking a step a little bit to the way from that, when we look at Lil Baby, someone signed to QC. Many people will say, well, how does that coincide, or how do they correlate? Well, Lil Baby and Gunna kind of had a very similar and very intertwined come up with their music. They've had so many tracks together that it's honestly pretty impressive. I feel like a lot of artists, when they talk about kind of the music industry, they don't talk about how Atlanta's form of not only working together but bridging each other's weaknesses allows each other to elevate in a way that's not seen before. While Gunna is very wordplay heavy with some of his flows and kind of making things more unique, he kind of can be weaker sometimes and repetitive. And while Lil Baby has such hard-hitting verses, at times people want his flows and certain sounds to switch up. They make the perfect match where they basically envelope each other's flaws and bring out each other's strengths even more. Songs like I Am, Seals Pills, Blindfolded, Sold Out Dates, 25K Jacket, it just goes on and on and on and on. Not even to mention Never Recover or even Life Goes On. There's Business is Business, Ready? It just shows you how their careers are much more intertwined than many people like to admit. So kind of going on to Lil Baby, many people like to talk about how this new song he just dropped is really going crazy and kind of setting everybody on fire. And while many people don't know, that new song, as we've been hearing, is Central C featuring Lil Baby, Band for Band. Now, before we continue, this song again is a feature. And I feel like we have to highlight that because Lil Baby's been such a heavy solo artist that it's kind of surprising seeing people start talking about feature runs when Lil Baby's kind of set himself aside. And I think in a way where I respect when people kind of mention him in the lane of Wayne is because one thing about Lil Baby is he heavily carries solo tracks. He's an artist that can carry a solo track, can carry a hit solo track, can carry a top 5 song of the summer solo track. And I feel like that's something that we kind of disrespect even in this era of the industry, where when we look at artists that do that type of music, there's not many artists that can make the mainstream. They don't have to have a feature from somebody or have to have some type of thing that boosts them to give more attention to the song they're doing. So I want to also give a little bit more respect to Lil Baby for that, because he was an artist that didn't do features because he needed to. He collabed out of respect and, you know, love for people like YSL, Young Thug, and Gunna. He didn't have to do any of that stuff to establish himself, put himself in a good place, you know, make something of himself and be something bigger. I always feel like stuff like that is something we have to highlight, because with these new artists and entertainers, it feels like people are so quick to kind of take away, disrespect, and not give credit to where an artist excels, and we got to do that. And I, for one, really want to see this man Lil Baby excel and succeed. I feel like for a while he was dropping mid music. I'm a fan of Lil Baby. I'm a fan of Atlanta artists and music. I'm a fan of Rakim. I'm a fan of SaBaby. I'm a fan of a lot of really young and unique artists that are really getting their buzz in their own ways. I just saw this man Ian do a big pop out in Atlanta at this little Sunrise gas station. I'm like, bro, why? Not because it's out of street cred or this or that, but I'm like, there are so many artists out here local that are right here that I feel like they should be supported in Atlanta. And I just like to see artists from their places be appreciated and valued, because coming from the Midwest and Chicago, there was a long time where artists out here couldn't get their shine, and people like Kanye, Dirk, and Keith put their careers on the line and really put everything on the line to bring a light to the Midwest, to bring a light to the cornfields and to the city of Chicago. And that's something that to me just needs to be appreciated and valued, and no matter what area you're from, things like that. And so that's why I want to really give respect to Lil Baby, because he brought that spotlight not only back to Atlanta, but made it the central focus for a while. And it's easy to talk about falling off and things like that, because if we compare 2018, 2020, baby, it's no comparison. He's up financially, probably more, but that's good. You're supposed to be up. In terms of sound, in terms of impact, in terms of what people are listening to, that they want to hear this person evolve, Lil Baby's not evolving, man. And I think we have to expect that at this point. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Not every artist can be a Tyler the Creator, a Kanye, a J. Cole, Lil Wayne. And maybe it's our fault for comparing them to people who have cemented their legacy so many times over that we can't help but want to compare the new person with the same sound. Maybe we have to put some more respect right back on those original artists, because honestly, they do deserve it. The Waynes deserve it for putting work in for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years.